What is up, everybody, and welcome to the All-NBA Show, powered by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/All-NBA. I'm your host, Adam Mares. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Tim Legler. Legs, there's some days I'm more excited to do the show than others. Yeah. I'm always excited, but today I am as excited as I can be because holy crap did we have a couple of really interesting basketball games last night to talk about.
One of the wildest nights in the league, particularly the ending of the Bulls game. We're going to get into and dive heavy into that, man, because I didn't see it live. I wasn't watching the game. We had company, and I was also watching some college hoops. Really wanted to see the Duke game pretty badly, so I watched that pretty intently. And then it was like the text messages are coming into the phone about the end of that game. And somebody sent me a clip. I can't remember who it was. A basketball guy, somebody sent me like a screenshot of a tweet saying one of the wildest endings to an NBA game you'll ever see. And I was like, one of? I don't know if it's even one of. That might be the craziest ending to a game that I can recall seeing, man. Yeah. So I went back, of course, watched the whole thing, and we're going to get into it. But it's pretty awesome what's going on with the Chicago Bulls right now.
It really is, man. I like these stories about a team that, you know, for most of the year, maybe you're excited about them if you're Chicago, but it's not that great of a story, this or that. And all of a sudden they just have this month where you're like, they come to life and you kind of see some signs, and that's just the month they've had. But to walk you through the end of this game, I'm going to set you up this way because I do think we have to start with the ending of this game. The fourth quarter was phenomenal because the Bulls had no fewer than, 6 shots go in that if they missed those shots, the game was over. Patrick Williams had a couple of them. Keven Huerter had one of them. Vucevic had one. They had a handful of shots that were like, all right, down 7. You got to hit this just to stay alive. Only a couple minutes. And they kept doing it. So first of all, they had incredible, just focus and shot making to close the game, but they're still down 5 points. They get a sideline out of bounds play. Patrick Williams knocks down a 3 in the corner. LeBron turns it over on the inbound play. Quick pass, tight window for Coby White to get a shot off. He drains the 3. Reeves answers on the other end with a layup, so it feels like it's over. And then Giddey hits a half quarter. That was the sequence of plays that was just insane, from down 5 to up 1 to down 2 to winning the game on a heave. All right, walk me through that ending sequence.
All right, so I want to start with the down 5 side out of bounds. And I don't know the exact amount of time when they were taking the ball out, but it was inside of 15 seconds.
I think it was 12.8. All
right, 12 seconds. Okay, so the Lakers make a massive mistake on the play defensively with their communication. They mess up a switch, which leads to, on the initial screening action, they mess up a switch. 2 guys go with the guard coming off. Nobody's with Vucevic. So now the ball is inbounded by Giddey. It comes all the way to the other side of the court to Vucevic, but there's another mistake made by LeBron James. He's guarding Patrick Williams in the corner, the far side corner. The ball comes in the air to Vucevic, sort of like top of the key, but a little bit more to the left wing area. And Austin Reeves, who was one of the guys involved in the miscommunication on the first screen, he kind of recovered and he's headed right to Vucevic. So by the time Vucevic catches the ball, Austin Reeves has recovered and he's within a couple of feet of him. For some reason, LeBron James sprints off the corner and runs all the way up to Vucevic, who catches the ball. Now he's got Austin Reeves on one side of him, LeBron on the other side, and he just turns and Patrick Williams is naked in the left corner. He makes the pass. Now, LeBron makes a great effort to run back and contest it. But if LeBron James even like stunts toward Vucevic and stays at Patrick Williams, Vucevic is going to catch that ball with Austin Reeves in his lap. LeBron home in the corner, guarding Williams, and Vucevic is either going to take a terrible three or he's going to drive the ball to the rim and lay it in or something, and they're going to be down 3. Instead, LeBron, and there's no reason whatsoever. I watched it 5 times to try to figure out what in the world he was thinking to leave Patrick Williams to that extent to run up there to Vucevic, who had a guy in the vicinity defensively. Anyway, easy swing, and it's a big-time shot. Patrick Williams has to make that shot to give him a chance to win the game. He nails it.
Well, real quick, hold up, Blake. Hold up. On that one, you're asking what was LeBron thinking. I think he was thinking for a brief second, I can get the steal. Like, I'm going to shoot the gap. But as soon as he made a move, he sort of realized he's not going to get there in time. And then he was stuck in no man's land. But to your point, the gamble itself was still, why go for the steal there? You're up 5.
There's no reason. And you're right. That's exactly what it was. Because you could tell his eyes lit up at first. That ball was hanging in the air a little bit. He thought he could get there. And then once he decided to abort that and stop, he was at least, he was a good 20 feet probably away from Patrick Williams. So now he's got to turn and sprint. Like I said, he made a great effort to close out, but he got there late and he makes the 3. It's just an unnecessary, the risk reward on that, in that situation, up 5, just stay home. Everybody stay home. Even if you mess up the switch to top and Vucevic makes a 3, all right, man, live with that, I guess. But LeBron, to me, that's a massive mistake. You cannot take that risk in that situation with a 5-point lead with 12 seconds to go. It leads to a wide open 3. So he makes it. All right, we got 2-point game, 6-something seconds left. Here's the next thing that happened that was very interesting to me. Lakers have a timeout when the ball goes through the net. Bulls do not. Ball goes through the net, you're still up 2 points. Josh Giddey, when the ball goes through the net, and I wonder if this is what messed LeBron up, where he didn't even think about taking a timeout. Josh Giddey, the ball goes through the net, it comes right to Giddey. He takes the ball and flips it right to LeBron, who's standing out of bounds. I don't know if you saw that, but it wasn't like one of his teammates threw him the ball or the ball was bouncing around on the ground. Giddey literally, ball goes to the net, Giddey catches the ball and flips it right to LeBron, who's standing out of bounds. And I think LeBron was just maybe caught off guard a little bit by that. And then he looks, Austin Reeves, he's got a guy on his back and he's kind of sealing him and he's got his hand out. And this is where the miscommunication comes next. And both of them address this, particularly Reeves. So Austin Reeves is thinking about sealing and almost like you're doing a post-up position with your hand out. And he's in a more stationary position where LeBron could throw it into him almost more like a lob entry pass to the post up in the air. Instead, LeBron thinks he's sealing him and then he's going to break to the corner. So LeBron throws this little soft, lazy bounce pass toward the corner, and it's just an incredible play by Josh Giddey. Because he's up on the ball on LeBron. He's up in his literally chest to chest. His hands are up above his head. And LeBron throws the ball down low, and Giddey immediately he retreats and goes toward the ball and snatches it up with his left hand. It was really an incredible play, like one of the better steals you're going to see all year. And then, of course, the immediate wherewithal to flip it to Coby White, who just happened to be Coby White, who's just standing there. Bang, 3-pointer. Just like that, you're down 1. Yep. So it's really a result mainly falls on LeBron's shoulders. There's no other way to look at it. Yeah. I mean, there's some miscommunication. Other guys are involved, but this is really LeBron. No reason to leave Patrick Williams on the first 3. And certainly you can't make a lazy, careless pass in that situation with the game on the line. And you always had the timeout in your pocket you could have taken too. As a veteran player, you don't need to look over at the bench to do that. You could call that your own if you didn't like the way that looked. LeBron thought it was going to be easy to get it in. He miscalculated. Giddey made an incredibly instinctive play to come up with the steal. And then, Coby White does the rest.
Yeah. So Austin Reeves scores on the other end. And then Josh Giddey hits the half-court shot, which, a half-court shot, what are you going to do about it? I don't know if you try to block that shot. There's nothing you could do. You just count on a guy missing that one, and he made it. But here's why I'm moving on to this already, because I like all the points about the plays leading up to it. The Bulls have the magic right now. I always talk about teams having this thing, this sense of belief and everything. Coby White hit that 3, and I just knew it was in. because, and I just mentioned they made all those shots in the fourth quarter. They're playing with this belief, we're down 8. It's fine. Just like, we're going to make the next one. We're going to make the next one. Coby White gets an opportunity, guaranteed it was in. And then even you give up the shot, like you have all that comeback, you go up by 1, deflating that Reeves makes a bucket to give them the lead. And I still believe, like, when that shot went up, and if you watch everyone in the crowd, you watch the bench, there's a great shot from the bench. The Bulls players thought that shot was in. And there's something to it when a team has the magic. You just believe everything's going to go your way, and then everything does. And that's what's going on for the Bulls right now, that they just put themselves in position to have a shot and believe that they're going to capitalize.
No, I love it. And I just, you think about what you're saying. He takes the shot and he holds his follow through the entire time. And as the ball, like, he shoots, he lands, he's still got the thing extended, and he's walking toward the basket, and it goes in, and he just keeps walking with his arm up in the air, man. It was such a cool pose and walk off that, of course, teammates mob him, and they take it all the way, like, basically into the crowd pretty much over there. And you had fans coming up, and they're like beating on the players. It was literally like, a game winner in the playoffs. Like, that's kind of the reaction. Look, everybody's shocked. And if you're a home crowd, like, everybody loves a half court buzzer beater. Crowd's going to go crazy. But this felt even more than that. And a lot of it is because this wasn't like they just went 3-10 in their last 13, but they won this game and the Lakers were in town. That would be enough to have a pretty cool ending like that, because it's going to be crowded. The place is going to be packed with LeBron and Luka in town. Lakers are in town. That generated the crowd. But it's not that. This is now they've won 9 out of 11.
Yep.
So they had 8 out of 10 going into that shot. And that's what that is, man. They've been playing great basketball for a month, and everything feels different about this team. And now on top of it, the Lakers, Luka, LeBron, Giddey half-court shot to beat it. And so the environment and the reaction was even more visceral than it would be, I think, on a normal half-court buzzer beater, if that makes any sense. It was an absolute euphoric celebration, man. The lid got blown off the place, and they keep rolling. And to your point, look, they had 43 points total in the second and third quarters combined in this game, and 44 in the fourth. Okay. So they were 11 for 14 from the 3-point line in the fourth quarter. So you want to go back and look at, you talk about key shots, because I love this kind of stuff. Patrick Williams made a 3 from the top of the key.
Yep.
Down 13.
Yep.
He cut it to 10. And I'm going, he missed with like 4 minutes to go. If he misses that shot and the Lakers score and they're up 15 with 4 minutes to go, you're not winning the game.
Yep.
Instead, it's okay. It's 10. They're still alive. And there were other shots along the way that you're talking about. Coby White hit 3 threes from basically the same spot on the floor in the fourth quarter, including the game winner. Or not the game winner. I thought was the game winner at the time, but it ended up they needed one more game winner. They really had 2 game winners in this game. But to your point, it was all those little moments that, like, if any of those go different, man, they don't win the game. And they played basically perfect basketball in the fourth quarter to get this win against the Lakers. And now they beat the Lakers 2 times in a row in a week. And by the way, I said 9 out of 11. Here's who they've beaten. At Orlando, at the Lakers, home against the Lakers, at Denver, home against Indiana. That is a serious slate of wins. And then you had the other teams mixed in there: Sac, Brooklyn, Miami, Utah, second tier wins. But those first 5 I mentioned, man, those are all big time quality wins. And even some of the numbers individually these guys are putting up over this stretch, man, it's all come together for this team right now. And they've become one of the more fun teams to watch as a result.
And dangerous. I mean, on the playoffs, we don't think we're going to win a round, but 2 weeks ago, we didn't think they were going to make it out of the play-in. It was going to be this or that. Now you look at it and say, hey, man, they have a great shot. Not only a great shot, but they're not that far out of being the 8 seed, which would mean they get 2 chances at the play-in. So it's within striking range, and the way they're playing right now, I'm not taking it off the board. And let me ask you, though, do you agree with what I'm saying, though, about this sense of belief and magic that teams get it? Because they made all those shots, but again, I don't think it was shot luck. It's that team has a belief, and belief seems to up your shooting percentage by like 10%, and they have that right now.
I totally agree. I totally agree with it. And And I don't know who was doing the color on the game. The version I watched was on League Pass, and it was the Bulls broadcasters, and I'm not sure who that was. It used to be Stacey King.
I think that
was.
Was,
He
I
still
thought it was
doing it?
him.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if it was Stacey King. He sounded a little bit different for some reason, but even he said it when Giddey hits the shot, and he had some funny lines. He was doing Sanford and Son. Elizabeth, you're coming for me, Elizabeth. I'm coming for you, right? So like he's having a heart attack. It was pretty funny, but he also said, "This ain't the same team. This ain't the same team, y'all. You better take notice." And I was like, so even the guys that have been watching it all year, every day, and look, this team has undergone incredible roster turnover over the last 2 to 3 years with where they're at now. It's all come together, and they held it together. Give Billy Donovan credit. That's a hard thing to do. And now they find themselves in a position. So here's where we're at currently. They're 9th place. They're pretty much guaranteed they're going to make the play-in because they're 7 games up on 11. But here's what's at play. Now, they're not going to win the tiebreaker with Atlanta. I did the math on that this morning. So they're 2 back of them. So with 9 games left, they're probably not catching Atlanta. Now, Chicago's got an incredibly easy schedule the rest of the way. So it's not out of the question, I guess, but you'd have to make up 3 games on Atlanta because you don't have the tiebreaker. That's probably not happening. So realistically, they're a game and a half back of the Magic, and they have the tiebreaker with Orlando, and they're 1 game back in the loss column. Now, Orlando and Atlanta play 2 more times. So they're going to be kind of going at each other because Orlando's still trying to catch Atlanta for that 7 spot. Most likely, the ceiling for Chicago regular season is going to be, can you catch Orlando for the 8? That's kind of a big deal. You think about it because you go on the road for a game, but you have 2 chances to win 1 game. And that second one would be at home. So that's what we're talking about. That's an enormous difference between 9 and 8. Right? 9, 10, you got to win 2, and the second one's going to be on the road. That's a big thing. For the 8 seed, you can lose the first game in the 7-8 on the road and then host the winner of the 9-10 game. So you got 2 chances to win 1 game and the second one's at home. There's a very good chance Chicago makes the playoffs if they can catch Orlando and get into the 8th spot. And that's really heavily at play when you look at their schedule and the way they've been playing recently. I think that's very likely going to happen.
Yep. And it makes all these play-in games now in the East, or I'm sorry, games of the teams that are in the play-in in the East very compelling the rest of the way. I mean, every Atlanta game, every Orlando, Miami, Chicago, now you're locked in because you want to see what happens. You want to see which one of these teams is going to be able to close and finish strong. Right now, my money's on the Bulls because, as I mentioned, man, they have something special going on, and it seems like they're going to be able to hold on to it at least to finish out the tape here. One last thing I want to ask about this one before we take a break. The Josh Giddey, Alex Caruso trade, when it happened, was obviously very criticized. And I still think you could look at that and say there was the negotiating power of the moment. Could they have gotten more or what could they have maybe gotten more out of the trade there if they negotiated a little harder? But when you step away from it now in a vacuum and just look at the players, I like Josh Giddey. I think he's a really good player. He's having a hell of a month. And you watch the way that it's come together for them with some of the pieces. I'm not saying they have a great rebuild going, but I like Giddey. I like Coby White. He's really stepped up and improved. I like Matas. They have some players now worth being excited for. And I'm curious what they do this summer, but they have a window here to actually make their team entertaining and maybe even successful next season in a way I didn't expect a month ago.
Let me go over some of these guys individually before we take this break, because I think it's important. And I'll just start with Giddey since you brought him up. Josh Giddey last year in the beginning with Oklahoma City was awful. And he had a lot going on. If you remember, he had some legal issues that, I think were affecting him. He did not look mentally locked in at all. He was in a tough spot in Oklahoma City. He goes to Chicago, finishes out the year. You can't look at this guy any other way right now than saying this guy is a top shelf offensive player in this league. Look at the numbers he's putting up this month in 13 games, 22.5 points, 10 boards, 9.5 assists. I mean, that's what and 41% from the 3-point line this month. And that's always been his weakness. That's what everybody pointed to in Oklahoma City. And they were right. And they had him and Dort out there together. And Dort has improved his 3-point shooting. But at one point, you're like, man, these two wings, the way they shoot the ball, is not good enough. You got to have more consistent shooting. So that was his weakness. Well, he's 38% for the season, and that's by far the best of his career. He's 41% during this stretch that we're talking about. He's averaging basically a 22-point triple-double over the last month. The guy and it's not pretty necessarily the way he shoots the ball, but it's going in because he's confident right now. And he's got so many other things he does well with his instincts. He gets to the line. He's incredibly smart. So it's working out very well for him. And I think Oklahoma City got a guy that maybe fit a little bit better with what they want to do. They wanted more defensive ball pressure and a guy like Caruso that makes winning plays because they've added shooting. Isaiah Joe and Wiggins and Kaysen Wallace. Those guys shoot it well enough. They wanted to go defense. So they go out and they get Caruso. So it's worked for them. And this has really worked out for the Bulls and Giddey. Some of these other guys, Coby White in March, just under 30 points a game for an entire month. That's what Coby White's doing right now. Keven Huerter, who really struggled in Sacramento before he got there, had a big role in this game last night. He's averaging 17 points a game in his last 6 games. And then the last guy I want to mention is, dude, Buzelis is going to be a stud. He can play, man. That guy's got awesome athleticism. He defends. He is continuing to grow offensively. He's still so young. I think they got themselves a big-time player with that pick. And it might be 2 or 3 years down the road, but I think this guy's got incredible upside. And he's playing really well right now to boot. And then, of course, you always have Vucevic, who does his thing, and Patrick Williams is playing very well. So it's really come together for the Bulls. A lot of young players. They play with a lot of belief. And I think there's a great chance they end up in the 8th spot and they end up in the playoffs. Most likely they're going to be in a best of 7 with the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round. That's how I think this is going to end for Chicago.
Yeah, which, obviously we're not counting on them to go deep in the playoffs, but that could just be momentum. Like, I know fans these days love the tank, but I just kind of like this team getting there and having some belief going into next year. Matas is young. You have him on a rookie deal for 3 more years, and he's a playable rotation player. He'll probably be a starter, in very short order, even on a good team. And so you have a window here to be like, you know what? Let's see what we got. Let's build around these 3 and see what we can get. All right, let's take our first break. On the other side, we're going to run through a handful of other games that happened that also have important context for the NBA playoff race. But then we're going to get into Cooper Flagg, who had himself an incredible night last night. And I can't wait to get Legs' takes on him on the other side. First, let me tell you about Lucy. It's 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco-free, available in pouches, gum, and our favorite, the Breakers. Breakers are pouches with a capsule of liquid flavor inside that helps saturate the pouch. Breakers are available in 4 milligrams or 8 milligrams. They offer the flavors like mint, berry, citrus, and espresso, as well as a whole bunch of other ones. Pouches go all the way up to 12 milligrams, which is quite a bit. If you're not a pouch guy or gal, Lucy Gum is available in 2 milligram, 4 milligram, and 6 milligram options. You can set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. No weekly gas station trips. Level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/allNBA and use the promo code AllNBA to get 20% off of your first order. Lucy offers free shipping and has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. That's lucy.co and use the code AllNBA to get 20% off and always free shipping. Now here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Also want to tell you guys about FanDuel. It's bracket season. Maybe you were betting on the games last night. I'll tell you what, Duke versus Alabama, I'm locked in. That's going to be an incredible game. I can't wait for that one. If you want to place a wager on it, you can hop on FanDuel right now, because right now new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to bet on everything from clutch shots to last-second heartbreaks and even who's cutting down the nets. I'm going to take Alabama in that one. I think, as much as I've enjoyed I kind of hope Duke wins, because Cooper Flagg has been fun to watch right now, but I think I'm taking Alabama in it. They just score 1,000,000 points. Take the over. If you've been waiting to join, there's no better time. There's tourney action almost every single day, and FanDuel has amazing bet types like spreads, totals, game props, and so much more. So visit FanDuel.com/AllNBA to get in on the college hoops action all tourney long. Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, back here, segment 2 of the All NBA show. Legs, let's just
can I stop you for a second? Can I stop you?
Oh God, what do we see?
Nothing. I just want to. I know you're going to get rolling into this next list of games and stuff you want to touch on. We have to at least take 5 minutes to talk about the Lakers.
Okay, sure. Yeah, let's go back into it because the Lakers are on a little bit of a slide here.
They've lost 8 out of 12. Okay, and I know LeBron missed a chunk of time and he's back, but like, here's the main thing I want to focus on right now for this part of the conversation because LeBron's going to be better than he's been lately. He made some terrible mistakes at the end of the game last night. Luka Doncic. So I'm looking at this 13-game stretch for Luka, and he's almost like a bipolar basketball player. Statistically, he's bipolar. And here's what I mean by that. The last 13 games, these are his numbers in his best 7 of those 13 games. 51% from the field, 52% from the three-point line. Okay? His worst 6 of those 13, he shoots 35% from the field and 31% from the three. His right now floor and ceiling, and I'm just talking about as a shooter. I know the playmaking is different. His defensive rebounding. Not even talking about those things. I'm talking about just his shooting, which is really important because the guy takes 22 shots a night. Okay, and if he's shooting 32% with that level of ball dominance and that level of shot volume, and his defense is so questionable and just appalling at times. The nights he's dominating offensively and playing efficiently, it absolutely does overcome that. But the nights that he's, not good defensively, and on top of it, on the other end of the floor, he's shooting 31%, taking that many shots and not making threes, you really don't have a chance to win. So right now, it's like, what is going on with Luka that I thought he had snapped out of it because he had like a set where he had like 2 or 3 games in a row where he was over 50% from the field. His 3-point numbers were coming up. He struggled big time when he first started playing. He expected that, a 2-month layoff. I thought that would happen with him. And then he started making shots. And I thought, okay, he's good to go now. Luka's going to be like in rhythm pretty much the rest of the year. And that's just not the case at all. You don't know right now if you're going to get a 6 for 21 out of Luka or you're going to get an 11 for 21. And as a result, their ability to win is dramatically affected by his shot making. And so this is something that I wonder if internally kind of like, damn, man, like what this guy, I have no idea right now what Luka's going to do offensively with his shot making because those are incredibly dramatic. And the thing is, it's the exact same number of shot attempts in his best 7 and his worst 6. It's the exact same. So it's like, it's not like, oh, those nights he's not shooting well. He doesn't shoot as much. No, he's shooting just as much on those nights. 51% to 35 and 52 from the 3 to 31 from the 3 on double-digit 3-point attempts. Like it's a real thing right now with Luka and his inconsistency paired with how bad he can be defensively at times. And now they've lost 8 out of 12, and I know they missed a chunk of time with LeBron, but their schedule is difficult the rest of the way. They're very likely going to end up the 5 seed and go on the road in the first round and then have to play Oklahoma City. I think that's very likely, Adam. I don't know if you've looked at the schedule and broken it down. They're tied dead heat right now with the Memphis Grizzlies for the 4-5 situation. They're now a game and a half back at Denver for 3. So there's a good chance they end up 5, go on the road in the first round. Hey, maybe they survive that. If Luka's playing well, okay, maybe they beat Memphis. But now, boom, you're in Oklahoma City's bracket. And at one point, they were going to be the 2 seed. They had a great shot at the 2 seed before LeBron got hurt. And now that's 2 rounds at home, avoid OKC to the conference finals. Now it's 1 round on the road and then OKC.
Yeah.
So that's how dramatically things have changed for them since the LeBron injury.
Well, you just said that they might fall to the 5 seed. They're currently tied with Memphis. And while you were talking just now, Legs, Taylor Jenkins was fired from the Memphis Grizzlies. This feels so crazy. This is breaking news. This just happened in the last 3 minutes. Taylor Jenkins, they just announced, the Grizzlies announced that they have parted ways with him. With 7 games to go before the playoffs? Isn't this bizarre? I mean, you got to instant react to this. What is your reaction knowing that Taylor Jenkins is fired?
I'm literally in a state of shock. I'm practically speechless over this. Number one, I think Taylor Jenkins is one of the brightest guys in the league.
Agreed.
Okay, so let's start with that. Secondly, look at the number of games missed by his roster this year. I believe Philadelphia, I know that at one point had the most starting lineup changes in the league.
Yeah.
But Memphis was in the top 3. Just look up and down the roster. Ja Morant's only played 43 games. Desmond Bane's played 61, so he's missed double-digit games. Santi Aldama, who's really important to him, second leading rebounder, he's missed, but 50. He's played 57, so who knows how many he's missed. Luke Kennard missed a chunk of time. Zach Edey missed a chunk of time. Brandon Clark's now out for the year. Jaren Jackson Jr. got hurt. And yet they're still most likely in a great position to finish 4th. Clearly, Oklahoma City's the best team. So you're talking about where's the disappointment? To me, if you fire a guy under these conditions, this late in the season, that's in the top 4 in the West, okay, it has to be an interpersonal conflict with somebody on that roster.
Yeah, for sure. I'm waiting for, there's got to be a story that breaks with this because it does not make sense otherwise.
There's no way you're firing this guy based on basketball acumen or the job he has done based on the games missed with his the guys on his roster. He's done an incredible job keeping their head above water. I've called, I think, 3 or 4 Memphis games. Every time I'm so impressed with how hard they play. So that's a reflection of the coach because they're connected to him. They're playing hard for the guy. And despite the fact all these different guys are out, he's found guys that like people didn't know much about at all. Scottie Pippen Jr., Jalen Wells. He's playing guys, major roles, one starter and one guy, main guy off the bench that nobody really knew a whole lot about over the summer if they were even going to be in the league. So you look at what this guy has done, and now you're this close to the postseason. How in the world do you think that this is the right way to proceed unless something has gone down in that locker room, on that practice court, whatever it may be, that they think there's no turning back from? And
It's
more
insane.
will come out on this because there's no way that this is just a flat out basketball decision. Like, we don't really like the sets we run. I don't think he makes good in-game adjustments. His late game management isn't very good. No, there's no way in hell. This has to be related to the personnel and the players, or a player specifically saying something about this. And they make this move now because I think this is really detrimental to the Memphis Grizzlies.
They had been on a little bit of a slide. They lost 4 in a row to start the month. They won 4 in a row. They lost 3 in a row right before this last little bit. So, I mean, there had been a little bit of a slide, but to your point, the guys they're playing because of injuries, you mentioned Jalen Wells, who I love, has been awesome this year as a rookie. He's one of my favorite guys, but Scottie Pippen Jr. starting last night, Jay Huff getting 18 minutes. You're just playing a hodgepodge group of guys. You got another rookie in Zach Edey playing real minutes. And for them to be a 4 seed, and then on top of that, like, forget all this. Let's say, okay, they want to move on from him. They're upset with something he's done. The playoffs are in 3 weeks. To go with a new coach with that little of a runway tells me they're punting on their season. There's no way they think that's a move that can help them this season.
And not to mention the fact, Adam, let's just be honest and call it what it is. Ja Morant's had his worst year in the last 4 years. Ja Morant, to me, is a different player because Ja Morant, and maybe this is what he needed to do, Ja Morant does not play with the reckless abandon that he used to. And I think it's affected his game and the reason is because he took too many falls. And look, the guy's very slightly built. He explodes off the floor, doesn't take much contact in the air, and the guy's landing on his back, on his wrist. Like, it's dangerous. I get it. So he's made the adjustment. But as a result, I think he's a different player. and he's averaging 22. He's down from his, 3 years ago, he averaged 27 points a game. He's shooting his lowest field goal percentage from the field he has shot in his career. He's a 29% three-point shooter. His assist numbers are down from what they were over the last 4 years. So he's not the same either. And I think in large part because I think he is more reserved in the way he attacks. And he's not a good enough shooter to beat you in another way. His game is attack, downhill, reckless abandon. I'm coming at you all night long. And I think he took too many hits and he got hurt a couple of times and he stopped, including this year. And he's different. So now you're Taylor Jenkins. You even have this elite level point guard that is not quite willing to just go all out attack mode. Okay, well, let's adjust to that. It's not like Taylor Jenkins, said, no, you're going to play this way or you're not going to play. No, he said, okay, I get it. We're going to adjust to that because we want to keep you on the court. As it turns out, he's less in attack mode and he's only played 43 games anyway.
Yeah.
So I look at that too. I think that's handicapped Taylor Jenkins a little bit. As you can tell, I'm not in agreement with the move. I just think the guy is unbelievably smart. He's a great communicator.
Yep.
And he's had a tough hand dealt to him this year. And despite all of it, they're on the verge of hosting, if they can hold off the Lakers, a first-round playoff series.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. What's going to come out? I mean, you're going to have to hear an explanation from the front office on this, and we'll see what they say.
This is the second trade of the year 2025 where the report came out and I did not believe it. It felt like there was a hack. First you had the Luka trade, and then this one, producer James was sending me the report and I was like, hey, confirm this multiple places because this doesn't make sense. I don't think this is real. I think he'll be the number one coach on the market now. So any opening that opens up in the next 2 months, I think his name will be at the front of the list for those jobs. I don't know if there's another coach I could think of that would be ahead of him.
Well, I tell you this, we went down the other night. I was, it was funny. I did my game in Phoenix and Dave Pash had us over the house and we just, he made some mistakes and we were just sitting there talking. And that question came up. How many guys are going to get fired this year? Because I thought off the top of my head, I thought less than normal because you're usually 7, 8 a year.
Yeah.
On average. There's been years there's been more than 10. Like a third of the league has been open before in the same summer. So we started going down the list. And when you really look at it, you look at certain situations. Okay, obviously Cleveland, Boston, otherwise going anywhere. The Knicks, some people think Thibodeau could be in trouble if they lose in the first round.
Okay.
Listen, if they lose a 3-6 to the Pistons or to the Bucks, is Tom Thibodeau in trouble?
Maybe in that scenario, but I just don't see it. I don't see it.
I probably don't either. Indiana, Rick Carlisle, I thought early in the year, there was some rumors about him when they were under 500, 20 games in. They've turned their season around. I think he's fine. JB Bickerstaff might be coach of the year. Doc's not going anywhere. I think Jamal Mosley's done a great job with Orlando managing the injuries, and they play hard for him. Billy Donovan, they've turned their season around. Spoelstra's not going anywhere. Rajakovic in Toronto?
I don't think so. I mean, they're in a rebuild and he's new, and they've been holding guys out. They've been tanking. I mean, I don't think so.
Okay, let's say no. Nick Nurse? How could you fire Nick Nurse?
I mean,
how?
How could
you fire Nick Nurse? I'm like, it would be the most bizarre explanation.
Yeah.
With what the lack of availability of their players, how in the world could you fire Nick Nurse? But here's the thing. Sometimes people think that happens, in trouble. Some people think Daryl Morey's in trouble. And if that's the case, Nick Nurse is in trouble too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a job. Brooklyn.
I mean, now we're talking Brooklyn, Charlotte, Washington.
Yeah.
You have new coaches there. First of all, you have new young coaches. You're in a rebuild. And also, is he taking those jobs? Is he going to, if he has the pick of any job he wants, is he going to a rebuild? I don't know.
All right, so let's go real quick. Out west, OKC, Houston, Denver, nothing. Lakers, nothing. Memphis is open. Ty Lue's not going anywhere. Steve Kerr's not going anywhere. I don't think Chris Finch is in trouble.
Sacramento
needs a coach.
Opening. Yeah, there's an opening.
Jason
Dallas
Kidd's
J. Kidd's not going. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to fire Budenholzer after 1 year like they did Vogel.
Maybe.
I mean, 2 times in a row, you're going to do that? I mean, come on. Chauncey Billups, some people think might be in trouble.
He's done a great job with Portland. I mean, their guys have developed. They're playing great basketball. So I mean, maybe, but I don't know.
What about
Oh my
Willie
God.
Green?
In New Orleans?
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that. I mean, but is that again, Taylor Jenkins has his pick of jobs. Is that the job he wants? New Orleans.
There aren't
I
many.
don't know.
My point being, man, we didn't have. I just went through the whole league. There were how many definitive? Yeah, he's in trouble. Did you say none? You didn't say any.
Well, I do think you kind of glossed over Denver. We'll see what happens with them this year. I think they're going to win around to the playoffs, and maybe that's enough. But we'll see, because this is a year where I do think Denver's at a bit of a crossroads, at a turning point. So not calling for it, but that is one opening. That's the best opening I could see where he might be interested if Denver decides to move on from Michael Malone. He's been there 10 years. Taylor Jenkins kind of looks like Maxi Minor.
That might be the most controversial thing that's ever come out of your mouth.
What's that?
That Michael Malone's in trouble.
I'm not saying he's in trouble, but if they have a first-round exit this year, I think he's absolutely in trouble. I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. I think it's definitely on the table if the Nuggets have underperformed this year. So we'll see. But to your point, there's not a lot of great opportunities outside of there. So
I agree with you about Taylor Jenkins. He would be the top of my list.
Sacramento maybe is the place that's like the best spot we found that might have an opening, is Sacramento. And I'm not sure how great of a spot that is. You could say Doc Rivers in Milwaukee, but again, who knows what's happening there? They might just be in a moment of panic.
I think the Lillard injury gave him an out.
Probably.
I think that's really tough. Now, okay, you're going to go into the playoffs and you're going to go on the road and probably play the Knicks or Indiana in the first round. I wouldn't pick them to win either one of those series without Damian Lillard. And so how do you really judge him? That's what I said about Nick Nurse. Like, how could you possibly evaluate the guy when Paul George and Embiid haven't even played this year? So we'll see. But I mean, this is shocking. I mean, I can't think of can you think of another time a coach was fired in the top 4 in their conference this close to the playoffs?
No. I mean, especially given these circumstances. I mean, it'd be one thing if, the Boston Celtics or, somebody that was expected to be a 1 or 2 seed ends up a 4 seed and, it's underwhelming. But nobody was picking Memphis. And given all the injuries they had to be that high, nobody on earth can say that it's not an overachievement.
By the way, somebody here, Albert, in the chat said, what about San Antonio? Now, I thought the same thing, but somebody told me the other day they think Pop's coming back.
Well, maybe this changes things. San Antonio would be the most attractive job. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no kidding, man. You got Wembanyama there, and you got a guy like Taylor Jenkins, man. With his ingenuity, and a guy like Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, man. So I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, I know this. We're shocked.
Yeah.
Maybe the only person more shocked is Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, because if he got fired today, this isn't because of an argument at shoot around today. This is because of something that's been going on there behind the scenes that we don't know about, that is going to be revealed. And that's what, the insiders that work for us and other places, that's their job, man. Go find out what the hell went on, because this is shocking to me that Memphis could find themselves in this situation.
Well, another guy that could be going to San Antonio next year if the ping pong balls bounce their way is Cooper Flagg, who last night put up 30 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 9 of 19 from the field, 3 of 5 from the 3-point field goal from the 3-point line. Legs, I don't watch a lot of college basketball. We just do a lot of NBA stuff, and I just don't have time for it. But I watched last night. That guy lived up to the hype. On the biggest stage, he was so freaking fun. You know me, I love weird players. I love prototypes, not necessarily archetypes. He is such a different player. What did you think watching him last night, and just what do you think of him overall?
All right, so I got to give you full disclosure on Cooper Flagg. I first heard about Cooper Flagg when he was 14 years old, and from someone on the grassroots circuit, Paul Biancardi, who does a great job with ESPN he does all the recruiting stuff for us and talking about where players are going. He told me about him. So I started pulling up YouTube clips on this guy, 14 years old. And I'm like, man, the thing that stood out immediately was very athletic and incredibly tough, like just nasty for the fight. He wants the fight. Yep. He's been had just, trash talked to and challenged from the time he was probably 10. And they're all coming for him every night on these elite level AAU circuits. And I'm watching this kid play, and I'm like, man, he does not back down from anybody. So that was the first thing. Now it was a matter of, does the skill catch up to that? And it did over time, obviously. Now here he is. Last couple of years, everybody knows who Cooper Flagg was. So he goes into this year, and I love the way you started this out. What you said is exactly what I was saying last night. I had some guys over watching the game. They don't watch much college basketball, and the game's getting ready to tip. And I said, you guys are familiar with Cooper Flagg? And they know enough about it, but they're sports. And they're just like, no, not really. I said, number 2 for Duke. That's going to be the first pick in the NBA draft. And he is, to me, a can't miss NBA star. And I want you to just watch him. Tell me what you think. Dude, to say he lived up to it would be a massive understatement. I think that's a good way that you put it, because I said the same thing. This guy has all of this scrutiny on him right now, spotlight on him. In that game, which was a good game for most of the game, he was so much better than everyone else on the floor. And Caleb Love played great for Arizona too. I like his game a lot. What Cooper Flagg did in that game with his playmaking, his rebounding, his defense, his shot making, if he were to put one game out there to tell everybody this is who Cooper Flagg is, it's the game he played last night. The guy was sensational, particularly with his passing off the dribble, which to me opened my eyes last night. I've even moved the ceiling up a floor for him based on his playmaking that I saw in that game last night. His ability to throw lobs off the dribble to the other 7-footer they were playing, or to kick out 3, like he would throw no-look passes to the opposite corner. They had the whole defense confused because he was looking at the top of the key and zipping a pass to the opposite corner. I'm going, man, this guy's IQ and the way he reads the floor.
Yes,
and
this is the thing. That's it. Yep.
Man, and then he had a couple of really difficult mid-range pull-ups, like half spin, fadeaway pull-up jumpers. He knocked down threes. He had a couple plays at the rim that he protected the rim and coming up with big blocks. He made all the free throws he had to make down the stretch. He posted up and did what he wanted in there. No, that was a sensational college basketball performance on a big stage to get Duke to the Elite Eight. And now they play this track meet against Alabama, which is like a pro offense. That's going to be the funnest game of the tournament probably you're going to see tomorrow.
It really is, man. It's going to be an incredible game. Both of those teams play like an NBA style. I want to go to the IQ part, though, or the feel for the game, whatever you want to call it. His passing is so incredible. And it's not passing as in, oh, no lookers or behind the backs or this or that. It's just making the right read as quickly as possible. His brain is so fast. He operates so quickly on top of just being an elite competitor, because those things, you know, sometimes guys are a little smoothish. That he plays hard, he plays intense, he plays a little mean, a little angry. And then on top of that, he's making decisions that are just so quick and so great. He's going to be both a great star player, in my opinion, because he has star player talents, but also a great connector. Like, not a star player, everybody you got to adjust to me, a guy that can fit in and play, I think, multiple styles. I was just so impressed with that part of it. The league is getting, I think, smarter. Like, the game's getting a little more complex in some way, spread out. You got to think that the game, there's more, you know, subtleties. He is a guy that I think is designed for it. And then on top of that, the physical attributes, he's just athletic. He's big. He's got a big frame on him. He kind of has like, he almost runs with like a hunch, kind of like a predator or something. He just has all these unique talents that don't usually combine. Usually they're separated amongst players, and he's got a bunch of them.
The thing he didn't show last night, because he didn't get the opportunity because of the way he was defended, he's got outrageous bounce. Yeah, now, he didn't show it last night, but he had some incredible, you know, posterization type dunks in the season. And so I know he's got that. He didn't really get a lot of opportunities to do that last night. He had a couple plays athletically, defensively, where he got way above the rim to block shots, but offensively he didn't even show that. He didn't have to. It was all the other stuff that he was doing. He was dominating everything that was in front of him. You know, he made a play where he came off a ball screen at the top of the key. Now, this guy's 6'10". Remember that now. 6'10". He came off a high ball screen. The defender of the screener jumped out, and he quickly changed hands, split the two defenders like a guard would do, like a smaller guard would do, got into the lane. The backline guy stepped up, so the corner defender pinched the lane, and he threw a bullet pass to the left corner for a wide open three at an important time in the game. It was so high level of what you would expect from playmaking ability of the Luka Doncic's and the LeBron Jameses and the Tyrese Halliburtons and guys like that make that kind of play routinely. Yeah. And he did it so effortlessly and so easily. I'm telling you, man, the ceiling for this guy is so high. I totally understand any team tanking as hard as you have to tank to give you an opportunity to draft Cooper Flagg. Yeah. Here's the other thing I love about him. Last point on this. A lot of guys that have been these one and done players, and there's a ton of them that go into these schools, they want to win with that 1 year in college. They want to. And it's like, okay, but at the end of the day, you can just tell they know they got something much bigger coming down the road. Cooper Flagg so desperately wants to win a national championship. It's obvious. Like you talked about his emotion and his demeanor. He's also joyous about the game when things are going well. Like he celebrates with his teammates, and it's not about a self-grandiose, look at me, look at me. It's he's appropriately emotional. I love that about him, man, because some guys are too stoic for me.
I agree.
I think I need to see a little bit more of that because it tells me how much passion you have. This guy wants to win. First of all, that ankle sprain he had was so nasty. I didn't know when we were going to see Cooper Flagg. They held him out just enough in the ACC tournament. They still were able to win the tournament without him. That's how good their team is. And then he comes back pretty quickly. And now he looks like he's 100%. And he's going to leave it all that skin on the floor, man, to win this national championship for Duke in his 1 year there before he, jumps and is the first pick, because his name will be called first. Make no mistake about it at the NBA draft in June.
He's that good. He's that exciting. And I just, the competitive, the presence, the competitive nature of him is just, it's enjoyable to watch because you're getting your all from him. And by the way, I talk to scouts. One of the things I always hear when I talk to them is you have to measure a player's improvement. So it's not just where they are. Where are they coming from? And Cooper Flagg was, to your point, the number one prospect going into college, all of this, but he's improved. I mean, his shot looks good. Like he has a trajectory where he's working, he's focused, and he has the ability. So I saw some people say, well, his handle's not quite as tight as this or that. I think it'll get there because he's a guy that seems to understand his weaknesses and attack them, and he'll just be a guy 3 years from now that is so much better than he is now. I want to ask you, though, before we get out of here, nobody seems to be able to give a comp for this guy because he's a unique player. So I'm going to throw some guys at you, and I just quickly, if you tell me if you see it or not. And the first one is my personal comp. I think he has a lot of Franz Wagner in him.
You know what's crazy? You and I didn't even discuss this segment.
Yeah.
And that's the first name on the top of my head. But I do think this. I also think Franz Wagner is a really good player, man.
Yep.
I like think their games are very similar. I just think Cooper Flagg is going to do all of it at a higher level.
That's exactly it. Same type, but everything up a level.
But that is, to me, the best comp there is because they're the same, literally the same physical profile. They both, and you know what? Actually, I think Cooper Flagg's got a little bit of a hitch and quirkiness in his jumper. Yeah. And Franz Wagner's developed a really bad hitch. He can't make a three anymore. And there's something, he literally pauses his release before he shoots it. Cooper Flagg's not that bad, but he's not consistent enough from 20 feet and beyond yet. He hasn't needed to be because he's been so good and dominant off the move and in the paint. He's got to add more fluidity to his jump shot, but in some ways, even that's similar between both of them. Like it's not perfect. Their release is a little bit flawed. The handle's similar. The mid-range is similar. The athleticism is similar. They're both very good passers. So I think that probably is the best comp for him, with the caveat being, but Cooper Flagg's just going to be a little bit better in every category, I think, when it's all said and done.
And broader. Like he looks like he has a big frame on him that I think will be even more physically imposing in that way. I saw this one, Amen Thompson. I mean, they're different, but I kind of see similar things. Like the NBA is bringing in this type of talent of guys that can do a lot of stuff, have length. So I see a little Amen Thompson in him.
A little bit from the standpoint of he cares every bit as much about playing defense as Amen Thompson does. So I think that's that edge and mentality that they take that very seriously. I would agree with that. Very different offensive players.
Yeah.
So that one is a little bit more of a reach for me, other than the mentality and the edge on the defensive end of the floor is very similar.
What about Jalen Johnson?
Uh, Nah, I don't see that
Yeah,
either.
don't
Jalen
see that
Johnson to
one.
me, no, I'm not feeling that one, man.
Pascal Siakam.
That's actually not terrible.
Yeah.
Pascal, that's actually not bad. I think eventually Cooper Flagg is going to have a much tighter handle. Siakam's more herky jerky inside out. He's a lot of head and shoulders. He
Spin
likes to
move.
spin on you. Right.
Yeah.
I think Cooper Flagg is going to be at the point like the play I described earlier. He's going to be able to do more of that. Like you're never going to see Pascal Siakam run a high ball screen as a handler, split two defenders, and go downhill and make a play. Like he's not going to do that. He can attack you one-on-one, three, four dribbles to get his own shot. He can do that. Cooper Flagg is going to be a much higher level handle. Siakam has turned into a pretty good 3-point shooter. I think Cooper Flagg's ceiling's higher there. And then I think just overall his feel for where people are and spatial awareness as a passer is going to be much better than Siakam's, but it's not terrible. They're both 6'10" and they're very versatile. I think that's the best way to compare those two guys.
Well, before we get out of here, as my camera starts to glitch on us here, before we get out of here, let's do our weekend slate, which we always do every single week. This segment is presented by FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You can get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/AllNBA. And here's the weekend slate for you legs. Cavs at Pistons, Knicks at Bucks, Suns at Wolves. Anything there stand out to you?
Anytime the Pistons are playing, man, and they're playing somebody good, I'm paying attention to that. They've just completely caught my ass. So Cavs, Pistons, good test for them. Detroit, they're fighting, man, to try to get into this 5 seed, which is just an incredible story if they're able to pull that off. And they've got some of these top shelf opponents here coming up. Cleveland tonight. They've got OKC this coming week on Wednesday. So that to me, you want to learn more about the Pistons, like what they really are right now relative to the top of the food chain teams. Let's see how they perform against Cleveland and OKC this week.
We also got Kings at Magic, Lakers at Grizzlies, Pacers at Thunder on Saturday. These ones are pretty interesting. The Grizzlies, new coach debut. Pacers, Thunder.
Well,
by the way,
Indiana put up 162 points on Washington last night. So let's see what Indiana, after a heartbreaking buzzer beater loss to the Lakers, they put 162 on the Wizards. So Indiana, Oklahoma City, that offense against that defense, that's pretty fascinating matchup.
I agree, man. That 162 is insane. They even took off the last couple of possessions. I don't know if you saw that. They could have easily put up like 168, 170. And then Sunday, Clippers at Cavs. That's a good game. I'm excited for that one. Pistons at Wolves, another great one. Rockets at Suns, somewhat interesting. What do you think?
Well, the Suns, they had won 4 in a straight before I did that game on Wednesday. You talk about getting cold water poured on a 4-game winning streak. I mean, could Boston have poured any more water on them? So you just, they're fighting for their lives. They're trying to hold off Dallas. And so that might be an interesting game.
Yeah, that one should be good. Oh, look at this. I'm back right in the nick of time. Right to time to hit that outro music. I think we have one super chat. Gio Huang says, shout out to Legs for highlighting Derek White's no-dip 3 on the broadcast. I think Jalen Williams, is currently underrated with a no-dip 3. What do you think about that? The big Jalen Williams.
Yeah. No, he's got a good one. I agree with that. It's a good call. I'll give him his props.
Who are some of the best no-dip 3s? I think George Niang has a good one.
Do you know who's got the best no-dip 3 right now in the league for a big man?
Who's that?
Quentin Post.
Yeah, he's got a quick release, quick catch, go.
He doesn't always no dip, but if he has to no dip, particularly if he's in the corner and it comes out late in the clock, I'm telling you, man, it's very Klay Thompson-like. Ball hits his hand, does not move. It goes straight up and through. So he's been impressive. I think he's a guy that most people wouldn't think that about. But yeah, I like his no dip.
Yeah. Any other ones, James? I think that's it. You can hit that outro music. Everybody, this was a great week, man. And what a fun show. Like, we had so much. We knew we were going to do the Bulls-Lakers finish, which was phenomenal. Maybe the best finish of the entire year. We knew we were going to do Cooper Flagg, who just had one of the most exciting tournament games ever from a freshman. And then in the middle of that, Legs, we got Taylor Jenkins fired out of nowhere. All-time show.
We got Taylor Jenkins fired. And before we get off, I got it real quick. There's one chat comment saying Cooper Flagg won't impact the NBA the way he did in college. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to lay my reputation on the line on this one. I strongly disagree with you. Cooper, now maybe not right away. He's 18.
Yeah.
Maybe give the guy some time. But I think, first of all, I do think he's going to be impactful immediately in the NBA, no matter where he goes. But you look at this guy when he's like 24, 25, and he's getting into like those early prime years. I'm telling you right now, Cooper Flagg is going to be a star.
Well, there you go. He has the leg stamp of approval. And I'm with you, man. Last night's game was so incredible. And he's fun, too. He's fun. That's the other part of it. He's not just good. I can't wait to watch him at the next level. I can't wait to watch him tomorrow night against Alabama. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show as much as we enjoyed doing it. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, subscribe wherever you get your podcast, leave ratings and reviews. In fact, just subscribe everywhere. Download our podcast 8 times a day. Anything to help out. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you Monday.
All silly like the mayor.